So when looking at plantar fasciitis, one thing that a lot of people don't even think of or may miss, it may be just one of those almost it's too obvious that it couldn't be that, is looking at the alignment of the foot and more importantly, the arch of the foot. So a lot of people with flat feet have plantar fasciitis and it can get very severe. And also too, arches can also fall over time. Athletes can actually, as you're moving, your arch naturally falls as you go into a full pronation, and then once you get back into supination, as your foot's coming up, that arch will come back up. But so some will pronate when they get a lot of pressure, so that's why a lot of athletes can get a lot of plantar fasciitis. Also too, that pronation can cause some other things in athletes, and we can talk about that in a different video. But what we want to do is we want to build up that arch, okay? You want to build that up with obviously something called an arch support. Even if you have good arches, many times if your shoe does not protect or support your arch, you're going to see that that's going to flatten out, and that's going to start to cause inflammation of that tissue. And if it causes too much inflammation, you'll end up with plantar fasciitis, and you'll end up in pain, potentially having to sit out from the sport. Or if you're not using your feet a lot and your arches are falling, you need to start thinking about arch supports because it's very, very important. Flip-flops don't provide it. A lot of athletic shoes that are these, they don't have any support whatsoever, supposed to mimic walking on your bare feet, may end up doing you worse for a while because your body's just not ready for that. And so you need to make sure you're putting some sort of arch support in there, especially if you're noticing that foot flattening out more and more. I know mine have over the years. I notice I've had high arches, but now as I've aged, etc., that arch is falling a little bit more, and arch supports have been huge for the inflammation of my feet or preventing it. So build up those arch supports. Anything is worth trying. You don't have to go out and spend $1,500 on an arch support. Find something to see. And the thing about an arch support too is your frequency of using it, etc. So understand what you can do, and don't just try to go in there and try to fix it in one time. It's like stretching. You want to stretch it and then get it out of there. All right. You don't want to constantly be just leaving that in there because you're going to end up with more foot pain, and then you're going to think it doesn't work. But again, this is a marathon, not a sprint. And so small times, maybe an hour, 2 hours, and work your way up to where you're using it all day. Okay. But arch supports can help to drastically reduce the recurrence or the problem of plantar fasciitis and inflammation of the base of the foot.